Producer Sydney Boles, here with another installment of our Town Administrator Update, here to talk about all the latest and greatest in town government, joined of course by Town Administrator Paul Sagarino. Paul, hello.
Hi Sydney, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. It is.
First one of the year?
Yeah. January, every time it comes around, I'm like, why is January 4 months long? It feels like ages, but it is still, it's January 31st
I think
today.
It's the weather mostly that drags it out. It's kind of drab.
Yep, yeah. But a lot happened this month, so we've got a lot to get into. First of all, just recently, we had the grand opening of a kind of a new establishment in town. Goodnight Johnny's offering something a little different. It's exciting, right?
We're really excited. Everybody that we talk to is really excited. I think, Burlington's really missing that local kind of place for Burlington residents to hang out at. We have every restaurant under the sun, high-end, beautiful restaurants in town, and we're, clearly we're a destination for restaurants. But I think that, over the years we've heard about a desire to have a place right in the town center, something where people could bring their children to that was affordable and fun, and I think this place hits the mark. I haven't had an opportunity to try it yet, but it looks like people are having a great time there already.
Yeah, the live music I think is a really big draw, and especially since we lost Sweet Ginger late last year, so I think it's a needed addition, it seems like.
Yeah, and I've heard from some people that counted the steps from their home. They walked over and noted how great it was to be able to walk to a place like that. So I think it's going to be a great addition to the town center, and really excited. The owners are very nice people. We've dealt with them on the licensing end of things, so I wish them nothing but success.
Awesome. Let's take a turn into some of the more nitty-gritty municipal stuff. We're talking, I think, a little bit over a week out from town meeting, which is always a slog to get through, but a lot of cool stuff happens there that matters to lots of different people. So, what's your feeling about it? How did it go just overall to you? What's your general feel?
Well, town meeting's an important day for us in the municipal world. So we have 3 major events like that a year, the January and the September ones being smaller sort of versions of the May one. But yeah, it's a huge moment for the town government. It's where we go to take, particular actions to keep the town moving forward. So it's always enjoyable to sit through and just sort of listen to the different perspectives of the town meeting members as they, weigh the pros and cons of what's presented to them.
I know. I always think of it as witnessing democracy in action in a really tangible way. It's kind of cool.
It is. It's one of the oldest forms of democracy. Everybody knows that. Sometimes it can get a little clunky, but I think most of the time it works pretty well. Yeah.
So I actually want to talk to you about some of the items that went through town meeting that maybe get a little bit less attention because they're wonky or just for whatever different reason, but they're important, right? They're part of how our town moves forward. So one of them was Article 10. It was the transfer of $134,000 from free cash to the Opioid Settlement Fund, which I understand is kind of a technical maneuver that we're not going to have to do forever. So what's going on there?
Yeah, it's more of an accounting thing that we need town meeting approval to do. The state filed suit against the opioid manufacturers several years ago, and the town signed on to that lawsuit. The lawsuit was successful. We do expect to have a stream of payments over the next 12 to 15 years. About $34,000, $35,000 a year, which is allocated to, trying to find solutions or try to assist with the problem of opioid addiction. So what we did at town meeting the other night was we had already received about $134,000 of those funds. They kind of super funded us a little bit more at the beginning. Because the state had not set up the proper accounting mechanism for that at that time, those funds came into the general fund and became closed out to our free cash. So if we needed to take those funds out of free cash and set them aside so that they would be strictly used for the purpose of remediating, the opioid epidemic. So we do have a committee of departments that sort of work on the issue on a yearly basis, and they will be putting together a list of options for the select board to consider in the upcoming year in terms of how they would like to see those funds allocated. So it was kind of a little bit of an accounting entry, kind of a boring from that standpoint, but the background of it is good. We will receive, I think it's between $600,000 and $700,000 over the next 12 to 15 years that we can use to try to put some effort into this problem that we have in the community.
Yeah, it is like a wonky finance maneuver, but I think it speaks to real pain that we've experienced here in town and across the Commonwealth, and so it's nice.
Yeah, Burlington and everywhere else,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's a really terrible problem.
Yeah. Similarly, kind of a little money maneuver here. Town meeting approved the transfer of $1.4 million from free cash to the Water Stabilization Fund. So tell me about that one.
Yeah, very similar to that. When we endeavored to do the MWRA water connection, we proposed that there would be water rate increases to pay for that project. And this is just a very roundabout mechanism to being very clear and transparent with that money. So what we try to do every year when the water money comes in, it's considered general fund revenue that just comes into the basic town account. We like to account for it and determine how much of that was associated with the MWRA project. What we do is then we take it out of free cash, we set it aside in a separate fund so that we can use it for the MWRA project costs. And then in May, we will request for the money to come out of there to be applied to the budget to sort of offset there. So kind of a boring, long, drawn-about accounting mechanism. We wanted to do it that way so that we can be transparent to the voters just in terms of how we're handling this money. At some point, probably in the next few years, it'll all be water revenue and water budget, so we won't have to, do these two actions at the January and May town meeting. Everything it'll just be part of the water operation. But because of the strong support we had on the project, we really wanted to be sure that we could document to anybody that wanted to know, hey, how much of the water rate increases have you used, and how much does the project cost? So it was really important for us to do that from an accounting standpoint, so we could be transparent to the residents.
Okay, so that's town meeting stuff. Is there anything else that you remember from town meeting that stuck out to you as an achievement or something you want to highlight? Totally fine if the answer is no, but I wanted to give you the chance.
I don't know if there was any achievement or anything to highlight. It was a pretty robust meeting, and like I say, I do enjoy the discussion, both pro and con on the different articles, and just sort of getting a sense of how the town meeting members vote on different issues is very helpful to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Separate from town meeting, two other topics I want to talk about. One is, I feel like this happened 17 years ago, it feels like to me, but Barbara LaRue, the chair of the Sculpture Park Committee, came to the select board with a brand new idea, exciting idea. Well, there was a precedent, but that's not the point. The point is they want to have some fundraising pigs sponsored by businesses on town common to raise money for the sculpture park, to have a fun activity for kids. What do you think?
I think the idea was well received, and I do think that once the plan is put into action, it will be a lot of fun. And if businesses and community members sort of get behind it, I do think it'll be a lot of fun watching the pigs get decorated and auctioned off, or however they plan on doing it. I think they're actually having them sponsored.
Yeah.
But I do think it'll be a lot of fun, and they've done a lot of interesting things to bring people into the sculpture park that have been very well received. And they're trying to activate that space, and I think it's going to be a big success, and along the way it should be a lot of fun too.
If you personally were going to decorate a pig, how would you decorate it?
Geez, you put me on the spot. I'm probably the least creative person that we have working here, so I'm not sure how I would
spreadsheets maybe.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but if I was in charge of decorating it, it probably wouldn't get many bids on it.
Well, I can't wait to see what businesses come up with. I think it's just going to be a real treat. The last thing I want to ask you about, Paul, we're in winter and we've had some snows, some bigger snows, some dustings. Have you been in contact with the DPW? What's been your sense for how we've been handling this winter weather?
Yeah, I mean, we talk on a regular basis as a storm is approaching. I think the department's done a great job. As everybody's aware, we're running way short on private snowplow contractors who used to do a majority of the snow removal. We could kind of see this coming several years ago, so we started to transition in a way of buying equipment so that we could handle the majority of the work with our own workforce, which we have been able to do. The trade-off for that is it comes off a little slower. We're not able to remove it as quickly. And I think the past few storms are kind of like the worst storms for us. You know, on a weekend, not a ton of snow, but snowing for a lot of hours. I know that over the years, we'd be better off getting 10 inches in 2 hours and cleaning it up once, as opposed to having a long, drawn-out 13-hour storm where we get 4 or 5 inches. But, you know, you can't just say, hey, wait till it all falls, because, you know, there's changes in temperature and it gets icy. And so I think they've done a great job. And again, we are undermanned in terms of not having the correct amount of contractors that we wish to have on the streets. But, you know, we do have the capability of doing it with our own team. They work long hours. It's sort of a long, difficult job to be out there, you know, plowing for that amount of time. I think they've done a great job. And again, the trade-off will be that it'll just be a little bit slower of a cleanup. And I know that, you know, some people don't like that. And, you know, we'll never get all A's on snowplow removing. I don't think any town would. But I think they're doing a great job with the manpower that they have.
Yeah, I think I remember, I might get the details a little wrong, but I think DPW Director Brian White told me there were some staff members who were on from something like Saturday night to Tuesday night or something, just really doing incredible, you know.
Yeah, that's a long time. It really is, and it takes a lot out of the workers, and you know, they do a great job. But I think, like I say, the trade-off where, you know, we may get negative feedback is it takes a little bit longer than it would normally if we had a full complement of contractors available. But you know, this is going on statewide. It's not a problem that's unique to us. Yeah.
All right, well, Town Administrator Paul Sagarino, I think that'll do it for this month. As always, I really appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sydney. It's great to be here.
All right, that was another episode of your Town Administrator Update. Thanks for watching.